just survived like the deeply haunted trip to Salem, a complete delusion-fueled Pilates the class, and a passive-aggressive family group chat. But honestly,
None of it compares.
none of it. It does not even come close to the absolute unhinged reality TV mess on our screens this week.
It really doesn't.
Like, if you have ever felt like your industry is leaving you behind or you are desperately faking it just to survive, which, let's be honest, we all have.
Obviously, we do it daily.
Daily. Then this week's television finales are going to hit so painfully close to home for you. Babes, I am fully, completely unglued right now.
You are vibrating.
I am. I am not emotionally prepared for these endings. I've literally been staring at the studio wall for 20 minutes, just clutching my emotional support water bottle, refusing to accept that this era of television is closing its curtains.
The finale energy in this room is honestly suffocating. You can feel the existential dread radiating off both of us.
It's heavy.
But, we are here. We are tethered to these microphones, and we have an absolute obligation to the Snark Squad to break down every single disastrous decision these characters made.
We owe it to you guys.
So welcome back to our returning babes. We love you. We thrive on your chaos in the comments. And if you are new here, hey, hello, subscribe. Because just because the TV seasons are wrapping up doesn't mean we are going anywhere. The mess is eternal.
It is so eternal. I was literally just joking, half joking, honestly, that I wish I were an AI right now.
Same?
Like, if I were an AI, I wouldn't have to wake up tomorrow, put on my dental scrubs, and go to work.
Dream.
I wouldn't have to deal with our 7 a.m. patient, who, by the way, has definitely not flossed since the last presidential election. I could just exist in the cloud, unbothered, perfectly moisturized, writing sitcoms or whatever it is the tech bros think artificial intelligence actually does all day.
Right. But no. We are just two dentists with massive student loans and deeply real-world responsibilities. The audacity of life requiring us to actually fund our own existence is fundamentally rude.
So rude.
Speaking of the audacity of our existence, we need to debrief the audience on the fact that we just barely survived the most chaotic weekend getaway of our lives. Salem, Massachusetts.
Oh my God, Salem. Babes, the vibes were immaculate.
Truly.
But the sheer chaos of the two of us running around looking for aesthetic coffee shops while getting jump scared by historical witch trial plaques, it was a lot.
It was exhausting. And for anyone watching the video feed right now, no, you are not hallucinating.
Yeah.
We are currently burning an aggressive amount of sage in the studio.
So much sage.
Hand me that lighter again, bestie. The bundle is losing its ember.
Here you go.
Thank you. I fully support the sage, honestly. The energy in this room felt a little thick when we walked in.
It did.
We spent 3 days surrounded by centuries-old ghosts and tourists dressed exactly like Stevie Nicks, and I am not taking any chances.
Absolutely not. Not today, ghosts. I refuse to be haunted. Like, we had the best time, but I am entirely convinced something tried to follow us back to the West Coast.
Oh, here we go.
No, listen, I was unpacking my suitcase yesterday, and I heard this terrifying creak in the hallway, and then half of my artisanal road trip snacks were just completely missing. Explain that to me.
I can explain it very easily, actually.
No.
It was me.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ate your cheddar puffs at the airport gate while you were in the bathroom. That wasn't a paranormal entity, babe. That was just a hungry friend with low blood sugar.
I hate you so much right now.
But regardless, the sage stays burning. And frankly, the only spirits I want interacting with me right now are fermented grapes.
Oh, say less. The wine is already on deck. Cheers, babe.
Cheers. And, as we clink these incredibly full glasses, we are once again manifesting a beverage sponsor.
Please.
Hear us, universe. Hear us, corporate wine overlords. We are out here practically begging. At this point, I feel like we're working harder for podcast sponsorships than we are our actual dental practices.
The hustle is becoming undignified. It really is. But, okay, I need to confess something to everyone right now because I am experiencing a full-blown identity crisis. So we land from Salem. We are exhausted. Our circadian rhythms are destroyed. We literally smell like recycled airplane cabin air and pure desperation. And what do?
I don't even want to talk about it.
We get in the car and drive straight from the airport to a Pilates class.
I still don't know who possessed my physical form and forced me to strap my limbs into a reformer machine at 6 p.m. after a cross-country flight.
Full shock. Full disbelief.
It was a literal out-of-body experience.
Are we fitness girls now? Like, do we suddenly deserve those matching monochromatic Elos sets?
No.
Am I entering my soft girl wellness era? Because I'm not going to lie, lying on that carriage doing footwork while the instructor yelled at me to engage my core, I I completely romanticized it.
Of course you did.
I was staring at the ceiling thinking, yes, I am that girl. I drink expensive green juice. I have my life completely figured out.
Let's just look at the mechanics of this delusion for a second. Waking up at dawn to stretch your hamstrings on what is essentially a medieval torture device equipped with heavy springs.
It's good for you.
We complained about walking 3 blocks to a museum in Salem.
Oh.
We literally had to sit on a bench and recover. The sustainability of this manic wellness girl energy is absolute zero.
Just let me live in my delusion for 1 week. I want the matching sets.
Fine, buy the sets.
But you know what really shattered my inner peace this week? The family group chat.
Oh, the psychological warfare.
Oh my God, the Snark squad needs a formal update on this digital hostage situation right now.
It has been a masterclass in manipulation. So, for context, my mother decided it was a brilliant idea to add both of us to the extended family thread earlier this week to discuss holiday logistics.
And I was so honored, like for exactly 4 seconds, and then the absolute chaos truly began.
It is entirely comprised of passive-aggressive messaging.
Completely.
My mom dropping these subtle, guilt-inducing digs about who was hosting what. My aunts responding to deeply emotional 4-paragraph texts with just a single thumbs-up emoji.
The thumbs-up emoji is violent.
It is. It is the absolute disaster of mixing family dynamics with our specific brand of bestie energy.
And I've vigorously defended myself in that chat. I sent a perfectly crafted, highly polite, logically sound text explaining exactly why we couldn't commit to bringing 3 different complicated side dishes to a dinner that is happening on a random Tuesday.
Which was your first mistake?
And your mom responded with, well, that's fine. We will make do.
Yep.
We will make do. The martyrdom. I am unwell.
Listen, here is the underlying truth of family group chats. You cannot use logic. You walked right into a trap by providing a reasonable excuse. The fallout was inevitable.
I thought I was being helpful.
You have to use pure emotional deflection. You should have just sent, so sad to miss it, love you so much, can't wait to see the photos. That's it. You gave her logistical boundaries, and she weaponized them into a guilt trip.
She really did.
It's the fundamental law of maternal texting.
Honestly, this group chat could literally be its own reality show. Andy Cohen needs to option our iMessages immediately.
You would make millions.
But speaking of reality TV mess, we need to get into the actual screens this week.
Yeah.
Because the television was televisioning, and I have never had more thoughts in my entire life.
We have to start with the main event. Season 3, Episode 7 of The Comeback, Valerie Chases the Truth.
Yes.
This is the penultimate episode. The finale energy is at an absolute boiling point, and the narrative tension is suffocating.
My phone is literally overheating from all the notes I typed out. Let's unpack the first major disaster of the episode.
Mark's midlife crisis.
Oh my God. So we kick up the morning after Mark left Burning Man early to supposedly support Valerie, right? But wait. The man takes off his shirt and he reveals a giant fresh back tattoo.
A tragedy in ink.
And what does the tattoo say? It says anywhere else. In massive block letters. I screamed. I literally threw my throw pillow at the TV.
It is the pinnacle of the midlife crisis.
Yeah.
A middle-aged man fleeing a tech bro desert festival, getting a profoundly depressing existential phrase permanently inked onto his flesh.
And the font.
The font alone is a crime against humanity. He looked like basic, unformatted Arial.
Yes.
Like he just opened a Word document and hit print. It was completely devoid of any artistic merit. He is so deeply, existentially stuck in his own misery, and his response is to treat his body like a billboard for his irrelevance.
But I actually felt an immense wave of pity for Mark in that exact moment.
Why?
Because Valerie is staring at this monstrosity on his back, and he explains it's a reference to how suffocatingly unhappy he is. He is drowning, and he just wanted his wife to acknowledge his pain.
Unbelievable.
And Val delivers this incredibly poignant line. She says, when something's bad, you got to move on. You can't just stare at it. It was heartbreaking.
Okay, what's actually happening here is a grotesque display of male entitlement. Let's look at the reality of their situation for 1 second.
Okay, look at it.
Valerie is actively getting canceled on a global scale. There are literal, physical protesters outside of her workplace holding signs. Her entire career is in jeopardy because of this AI leak. And Mark's instinct is to make the moment entirely about his unhappiness.
I mean, he was hurting too.
He is throwing a permanent, ink-stained tantrum while his wife is fighting for her professional life. The selfishness is staggering.
He lost his job, though. His entire identity was wrapped up in being the provider, the stable one.
Still a tantrum.
But okay, I see your point. The timing is horrendous. And honestly, that exact brand of destructive, self-absorbed ambition is bleeding across all the networks right now.
Oh, completely.
Because if we look at Rooster, this week, Season 1, Episode 9, we see the exact same entitlement and delusion.
Oh, absolutely. The parallels are glaring. Let's talk about Katie and Archie and Rooster, because that dynamic is equally toxic.
I was yelling at my screen. So Katie finally discovers the devastating truth. She didn't get her fast-track tenure based on her own academic merit.
Not at all.
Her mother, played by the eternally flawless Connie Britton, literally strong-armed the college into giving her the Ludlow professorship after donating an obscene amount of money.
And the betrayal goes even deeper, because her mom casually reveals she bought Katie her initial entry-level job at the university, too.
So brutal.
It completely annihilates Katie's foundational understanding of herself as a self-made intellectual, which, psychologically speaking, would trigger a massive existential crisis for anyone.
Totally understandable crisis, but what does she do with that world-shattering information?
She makes the worst possible choice.
The worst. She goes to the local diner, runs into Archie, who, mind you, just found out his book draft got rejected by his publisher, and she comforts him.
Disgusting.
Let's remember, Archie literally wrote his entire manuscript while high out of his mind on cocaine. He is a mess.
A literal mess.
And then he gives Katie this highly manipulative, woe is me speech, and Katie kisses him. She kisses him and tells him the ball is in his court. I am furious with her.
Katie is self-sabotaging because her entire identity was just exposed as a fraud. She gravitates toward Archie because he is also a fraud, and misery demands company.
Gosh, you are so right.
But Archie is an absolute narcissist. He weaponizes his failure to make women pity him. And frankly, we need to demand justice for Sunny.
Justice for Sunny.
Sunny is out here offering to sacrifice her dream job in New York City to stay in this tiny claustrophobic town just to co-parent Archie's baby. And Archie repays her by making out with Katie at a diner over cold coffee. Throw the entire man in the garbage.
Throw him away. Men throwing tantrums when their perceived status is threatened is literally the theme of the week. But let's bring it back to the comeback, because while Mark is having his tattoo crisis, Valerie is dealing with the return of an absolute icon.
Oh, Jane.
Jane is back.
Jane shows up outside Val's high-rise building.
Yes. She intercepts Val and tells her that she absolutely was not the source of the AI leak. In fact, Jane went on CNN to publicly defend Val.
So she says.
I loved this moment so much. I love Jane stepping back into the role of Val's fierce protector. It feels like such a beautiful full circle moment from the earlier seasons. And she brings her actual, literal Oscar-winning camera from her documentary, The Lesbians of Treblinka. She is ready to go to war for Valerie Cherish.
Okay, we need to pause and examine Jane's actual underlying motivations here, because they are incredibly murky.
What do you mean? She's helping.
On the surface, yes, it looks like she is riding in on a white horse to save Val. When Billy apologizes for throwing Jane off the studio lot earlier in the season, claiming he was just protecting the business, Jane looks at him and says, "I'm sorry too, I was protecting humanity."
An iconic line.
She claims she hates the AI technology, but if she hates AI so much, and her goal is to protect humanity from the machines, shouldn't she be thrilled that the secret AI project was leaked to the press?
Wait. Oh my God.
Exactly. The logic collapses on itself. Her motivations are completely contradictory. Does Jane actually care about Valerie's well-being, or does she just smell blood in the water? Yeah. She brought her Oscar-winning camera. Think about the mechanics of documentary filmmaking. It is inherently a parasitic relationship.
Parasitic is a strong word.
But it's true. A documentarian needs a subject who is suffering, struggling, or failing in order to create a compelling narrative arc. Jane isn't there to save Val. She's there to harvest her downfall for another Emmy nomination.
You are so deeply cynical. Why can't you just let women support women?
Because it's television.
I think Jane genuinely cares. They have been through the absolute trenches of the industry together. Jane sees that Val is being unfairly targeted by the mob, and she wants to document the truth. That's literally why the episode is titled Valerie Chases the Truth.
We can disagree on this, but I stand by my assessment. Jane is an opportunist who happens to have a good heart, but the opportunism is always the driving force.
Fine.
And if we want to talk about suffering for the camera, we cannot skip the absolute disaster that was the Hot Ones segment, relegated to the end credits.
Oh my God, Valerie Cherish on Hot Ones. I was howling. Tears were physically streaming down my face.
The chicken and the milk.
She is trying so incredibly hard to maintain her polished, PR-friendly composure, and the hot sauce is just systematically destroying her internal organs.
It was visceral.
She looks at Sean Evans, sweet, bald, innocent Sean Evans, and she deadpans. What's funny about this to you, Sean? I think you're a sadist.
The contrast between her trying to spin her PR crisis while experiencing raw physical agony is comedic perfection. And then the defeated, breathless way she whispers, "Sean, I can't hear you. I've got ringing in my ears."
So good.
It is a masterclass in physical comedy.
But the real comedy or tragedy, depending on how you look at it, happens at the coffee bean.
Oh, the ambush.
This brings us to the most chaotic scene of the entire episode. Val, Billy, Patience, and their giant bodyguard James go hunting for Pauly G at his favorite coffee bean location.
Very normal behavior.
They want to ambush him with Jane's camera and force him to admit he leaked the AI story, but instead they end up getting ambushed themselves by a mob of unemployed television writers.
This specific scene is a brilliant, biting satire of modern class struggles in Los Angeles.
It really is.
Because one of the striking writers yells at Valerie, claiming she stole their livelihood and forced him to pull his kids out of an expensive private school. And Billy, who is fully leaning into his new flamboyant persona, claps back at the mob and yells, "Why are you spending $8 on a latte?"
I gasped so loud I scared my dog. You do not yell at an angry mob. You do not antagonize people who are already holding pitchforks.
But look at how the show is playing with audience sympathy here. The $8 latte discourse exposes the immense cognitive dissonance of the Hollywood middle class.
True.
If you are literally striking because an AI is taking your job and you can no longer afford private school tuition, why are you standing in line to buy an $8 iced mocha?
Make your coffee at home.
Right. The show wants us to sympathize with the writer's plight against corporate greed, but it also paints the writers themselves as incredibly entitled, clinging desperately to these trivial status symbols, even as their industry collapses around them.
It perfectly captures the absurdity of LA. People in that city will literally go into credit card debt before they give up their daily premium coffee order. It's a sickness.
It's an addiction to aesthetics.
And then the absolute disrespect. One of the writers actually throws their full iced mocha directly onto Billy and Val.
Mercifully, it was an iced beverage, but yes, a complete waste of $16 worth of dairy and espresso.
So they run out of the coffee shop covered in chocolate syrup, and who did they bump into? Pauly G.
Oh, sorry, Pauly G. Pino.
Yes, we finally learned his full legal name this week, Pauly Giapino.
It almost sounds too poetic to be real.
It's beautiful, and he drops a massive bombshell. He reveals he didn't leak the AI story.
With sweats.
He actually texted Val a message of support, but she completely missed it in the chaos.
Yeah.
And then he does something I never thought I would see on the show.
Brace yourself.
He looks at Valerie and he thanks her.
Right.
He tells her that working on that miserable AI sitcom set for just one single day made him remember how much he genuinely loves the craft of writing.
Which is wild.
So he took a massive pay cut to go work on some ridiculous zombie rom-com just so he could be a real writer again. I was incredibly emotional watching this.
I know you were.
After everything Pauly and Val have been through, the abuse, the manipulation, the hatred, for him to thank her, it is a beautiful, full-circle moment of growth.
Okay, let me put on my realistic glasses for a second.
Here we go.
I cannot help but point out how incredibly convenient it is for the writers of the show that Pauly G is suddenly no longer furious with Valerie.
It's character development.
We have spent multiple seasons watching this man act as the absolute bane of her existence. He has twisted her reality, humiliated her on set, and tried to destroy her sanity.
Well, no, but...
And suddenly, he has a magical breakthrough because he spent 8 hours on a green screen set. It feels like the show is rushing to tie up his deeply complex, toxic storyline without doing the actual narrative work.
I completely disagree with you. It's not a rush resolution. It's a profound realization.
Profound is a stretch.
He hit rock bottom. He saw the sterile, soulless future of artificial intelligence writing, and it shocked him back to his humanity. Val inviting him to that set inadvertently saved his soul. You are dead inside if you didn't feel the weight of that interaction.
I feel things, I promise. I just prefer my character arcs to have a little more friction before they achieve enlightenment in a coffee bean parking lot.
Whatever.
But speaking of friction, we need to talk about the set mutiny. Because while Val is dealing with the writers outside, the crew inside the house that set is staging a full revolt.
It is falling apart. The
Yes.
crew finds out they've been secretly filming alongside an AI program, and they are furious because they realize they have been tricked into training their own digital replacements.
Exactly.
Big John, the camera guy, is back to ruthlessly bullying Evan, literally telling him, if you, genius bar.
Which objectively is a hilarious insult to hurl at a tech supervisor.
It is so funny, but the betrayal runs deep. Even Zeke, the guy who historically laughs at absolutely every single joke Val makes, looks her dead in the eye and tells her she lied to them.
And then the main cameraman just quits on the spot and walks out.
Yeah.
And then Bev, the veteran stage manager, steps up and delivers this incredibly grounded, sobering speech to the remaining crew.
I love Bev.
She compares the AI to all the terrible human directors they've had to endure over the years. She says, you hate that he's here and you resent. You have to work with him, but you put your head down and you do it anyway because you love what you do and you have a mortgage or kids, or in my case, both, and an immortal bird.
The immortal bird. I love Bev so much.
But if we look at what Bev is actually saying, it's a devastating commentary on the economic reality of gig workers in the entertainment industry.
It is.
They don't have the luxury of standing on moral principles. They have mortgages. They have pets that will outlive them. They have to swallow their pride and participate in their own obsolescence just to pay their bills today.
Which is exactly what the tech bros in the Audacity are exploiting. If we connect the NewNet Studio executives in the comeback to Duncan in the Audacity Season 1, Episode 4, the parallels are absolutely striking. The delusion is contagious across these shows.
You are spot on. Duncan is currently running what the show calls the Denoden Deception.
Unbelievable.
He is passing off Joanne's highly empathetic human therapy gossip about the CEO, Lee Orlando, as brilliant AI-generated insight. He is completely faking the technology to secure funding.
Yes. He is taking the incredibly nuanced emotional labor of a human woman, feeding it into a fake interface, and letting the tech bros marvel at how advanced the algorithm is.
It perfectly mirrors the real-world tech controversies we see all the time.
Completely.
Think about the Mechanical Turk concept. How many autonomous delivery companies or AI scheduling assistants have been exposed over the last few years for actually just using underpaid human workers in offshore call centers to manually review data and pretend the AI is doing the work?
It's so dystopian.
It's the Wizard of Oz hiding behind a digital curtain. It strips the human workers of their dignity to feed a corporate illusion of progress. And Duncan is fully, gleefully leaning into the deception.
And the stress of maintaining that deception is physically destroying them. Poor Orson is so incredibly anxious about his crush on Tess and the pressure of the company that he literally shits his pants.
A literal mess.
The entire storyline revolves around this disgusting gut tincture he's taking.
I found the pants-shitting gag to be a little too juvenile for a show that usually relies on highbrow satire, to be honest.
It was gross.
But it does effectively highlight the physical toll of existing in a high-stress environment built on lies. Your body will eventually reject the deception.
Like Dr. Webb.
You see it with Dr. Webb, too. The new principal gets drunk on a Napa wine tour and casually confesses that she lied about getting her degrees in Wisconsin, just so she could fit in with the unpretentious Midwestern values aesthetic that the Silicon Valley elite moms pretend to care about. Everyone in this universe is faking their credentials, faking their tech, and faking their personalities just to survive.
Everyone. And Val is no different. Back on the set of How's That, she can't handle the heat of the crew's anger. She steps outside for air, hears someone call her name, and she literally runs away in terror, yelling, "It's a writer! One got loose!"
I had to pause the television. I was laughing so hard at the phrase, "one got loose."
It's a phenomenal line delivery. But it wasn't a loose, feral writer chasing her.
No.
No. It was Juna. Malin Ackerman is back on our screens. Baby girl has returned.
I know for a fact you were full-on crying during this scene.
I was sobbing. Juna catches up to Val, and she gives her exactly what she needs to hear. Juna tells Val that she knows Val didn't maliciously set out to ruin people's lives.
Right.
She looks at her and says, "To me, you're it." Val just completely breaks down. It validates Valerie's innate goodness from all those years ago on the room and board set. After an entire season of Val getting beaten down by the internet and her peers, Juna arrives to remind her and us who Valerie Cherish really is at her core. A kind person who took care of the younger girls when the industry was trying to eat them alive.
I am rolling my eyes so hard right now they might get stuck in the back of my skull.
Stop being a hater. Let the woman have a moment of grace.
Listen, the scene was acted beautifully, I will concede that. But if we examine the narrative structure, I am entirely with the critics on this one.
Of course you are.
The show is letting Valerie off the hook way too easily for her active complicity in the AI replacement scheme. Val asks Juna, "Did I lie by omission or commission?" As if there's a meaningful difference when people are losing their jobs.
But she didn't mean to hurt anyone. She's a woman over 40 in Hollywood. She is just trying to survive in an ecosystem designed to discard her.
Valerie is fundamentally selfish. Yes, she is a survivor, but her survival instinct constantly overrides her moral compass.
I mean, survival is messy.
And frankly, the baby girl dynamic has always been slightly infantilizing. Juna, showing up as this angelic figure to absolve Val of her sins, feels like the writers of the show wanting the audience to love Valerie without making her actually earn the redemption for the specific tangible harm she caused the crew this season. It's a cheap grace.
I push back on that completely. Valerie is a surviving icon. She made a terrible judgment call with the AI because she was desperate, but she isn't evil. Juna returning was a necessary emotional counterbalance to the vitriol she was receiving.
It was convenient.
You can't just punish a character relentlessly, bestie. You have to give them a sliver of hope.
Nice save. We will clearly have to agree to disagree on Valerie's moral culpability. But let's transition to the scene that completely shattered the internet this week.
Yes,
Mark's confession on the set of Finance Dudes. This is where the episode takes a shockingly sharp turn into incredibly complex, dark territory.
Okay, so Val is trying to act as a producer and coach Mark for his new reality show, Finance Dudes. And babes, Mark is a disaster on camera.
Horrendous.
He is incredibly stiff. He has zero natural charisma. His body language is fully closed off. He's speaking directly downward into his coffee mug instead of projecting to the lens.
He's allergic to the camera.
Val tries to pump him up by comparing him to Mauricio Mamansky from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but honestly, he's giving nothing.
He isn't giving Mauricio. He is giving early season Russell Armstrong from Beverly Hills.
Oh, wow. Accurate.
Just deeply, visibly uncomfortable in his own skin and totally lacking the reality TV gene that allows people to perform their lives naturally.
So they are filming a scene, and Mark gets a staged phone call from one of the other dudes asking if Mark got Me Too'd from his old job. Mark instantly panics.
Full panic mode.
He completely breaks the fourth wall, grabs Val, and pulls her into the kitchen pantry to hide from the main cameras, though obviously Jane's documentary cameras and our HBO cameras are still rolling from the hallway.
And we need to analyze this strictly through the lens of character development and television narrative.
Strictly narrative. We're not taking political sides here, babes.
Exactly. We are looking at the show itself. Yeah. The show uses this moment not to make a sweeping political statement, but to force Valerie to confront the reality of the man she married.
Exactly. So Mark confesses the actual truth in this tiny pantry. He wasn't just unjustly fired for making a bad off-color joke, which is what he has been claiming all season.
Right.
He admits that years ago, before the Me Too movement shifted the culture, he slept with temps and administrative assistants who worked directly under him at his firm.
He admits to the power imbalance.
Yes. He tells Val he never even questioned the ethics of it back then because he was just one of the guys doing what all the guys did.
It is a phenomenal narrative twist because Mark has spent this entire season playing the aggrieved victim.
He really has.
He complained relentlessly about cancel culture and being misunderstood, and now in this claustrophobic space, the truth comes out. He abused his structural power. And what is truly fascinating is how the show handles the fallout of that admission.
The acting.
Lisa Kudrow and Damien Young act the absolute hell out of this pantry scene.
They really do. It is breathtaking television. You can literally see the micro-expressions on Val's face as she processes the information in real time.
It's devastating.
Her husband, who she thought she knew, who she thought was the safe, stable alternative to the toxic Hollywood men she works with, utilized his power in a way that is deeply harmful. And instead of screaming or throwing things or storming out of the house, Val just looks at him. And she tells him, "You got knocked down. You got to get back up, darling."
Which raises a massive question about marital complicity in narrative resolution.
How so?
Some viewers feel the show resolved this massive bomb drop way too quickly. Val just gives him this quiet pep talk. And then Mark walks out, quits the reality show to save himself from the public fallout, and the episode moves on. It felt a little too easy for confession of that magnitude.
I saw it entirely differently. I don't think Val was absolving him. I think Val was talking to herself as much as she was talking to Mark. She spent her whole life getting knocked down by men and by the industry. She's saying, we all have ugly truths, we all fall down, but we have to keep moving because stopping means dying. It was a moment of intense, gritty, marital survival.
Survival mode.
She didn't have the luxury of falling apart in that pantry because she had a press conference to get to.
And that leads us to the final act.
Mm.
Val takes her own advice. She compartmentalizes the trauma of her husband's confession, gets dressed in a fabulous outfit, and heads to the press, step and repeat, to face the firing squad about the AI leak.
She is so brave. She has her little canned PR statement memorized. But then, the ultimate twist.
The corporate twist.
Ridley, the slick marketing lead for the NewNet studio, pulls her aside and reveals there is no firing squad. The studio isn't mad. Why? Because the studio leaked the AI story themselves just to drum up press and controversy before the premiere.
It is the ultimate delusion of the corporate machine. Think of it like a controlled forest fire.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
The executives deliberately burned down their own ecosystem, alienating their writers, traumatizing their crew, and throwing their lead actress to the wolves, just so they could control where the media's attention flowed.
So evil.
They manufactured outrage to guarantee viewership. It is a terrifyingly accurate satire of how tech bro studio executives view human collateral damage as just another marketing expense.
Val is completely stunned. But I wasn't stunned by Val's reaction. I was stunned by Billy.
Oh, Billy.
Billy arrives at the step and repeat, and he is wearing this flamboyant, high-end, Jordan Roth-inspired couture outfit. I am living for his fashion glow-up. He looks incredible.
Billy is entirely unhinged. He steps onto the red carpet, looks at Valerie, and says, I don't want to be an actor. I want to be a star.
Iconic.
He has completely lost the plot. He has morphed into the exact monster Valerie used to be in season 1, desperately chasing the spotlight and the validation of the cameras, completely, regardless of the collateral damage he causes to the people around him.
I support his journey. Let the man be a star. But speaking of people who are desperate for the spotlight, we have to make one last pop culture connection to Saturday Night Live.
Yes, we do.
Because if we are talking about earnestness versus the demands of the medium, we have to talk about Olivia Rodrigo hosting.
It's a fascinating comparison to Mark being stiff on reality TV.
Mm.
Olivia Rodrigo is incredibly talented, and she had all the enthusiasm in the world, but her sketch acting felt fundamentally mismatched with the cynical, weird vibe of modern SNL.
Look, I will defend her musical performances to the death. The performance of Drop Dead was incredible. She is a rock star through and through.
No one is denying that.
But the sketches, that staircase sketch where everyone just keeps falling down the stairs, it gave me major 1998 all that on Nickelodeon energy. It felt very juvenile for an audience expecting biting satire.
You have to compare her hosting debut to Sabrina Carpenter's recent episode to really see the gap. Sabrina has that opaque, slightly ironic, detached persona that fits perfectly into SNL's late-night DNA. Olivia is just too earnest. When she was reading the cue cards, you could physically see her reading the cue cards. The eye-darting was distracting.
It's true, the eye-darting was real. She couldn't hide the mechanics of the performance. But we have to shout out Andrew Dismukes in the rideshare driver sketch.
Absolute genius.
He single-handedly saved the comedic pacing of that episode.
He was the absolute MVP of the night. The premise that he is a nerdy white guy who involuntarily drops into a flawless, culturally specific Rasta reggae routine whenever party music plays, and then is utterly horrified and confused by his own body's actions. Masterful physical acting.
So good.
He committed to the bit with zero vanity, and he stole the entire episode.
He really did. Okay, babes, we have broken down the plot, we've dragged the tech executives, we've analyzed the sketches. Now let's break down the people.
It's time for segments.
It is time to decide who actually survived this season. Let's start with a finale glow up or glow down.
Let's do it.
We are going to go through the main characters of the comeback and decisively judge who ended the season in a stronger position versus who completely deteriorated. We are being shady and we are being brutally honest.
Always. You start with Valerie Cherish.
I am giving Valerie a mixed grade, a glow up in personal self-awareness, but a massive glow down in industry respect. She finally sees herself clearly, she survived the pantry confession, and she took the PR hits, but the industry literally views her as an AI puppet now. She lost her artistic credibility.
I agree with the glow down in industry standing, but I will argue her self-awareness is still incredibly murky. She still craves the fame too much to walk away, which means she hasn't truly evolved.
Fair enough. Next, Mark.
Ultimate glow down. Are you kidding me? The depressing desert back tattoo, The Me Too confession in a kitchen pantry, quitting reality TV because he has the on-screen charisma of a wet paper towel.
Subterranean.
He's in the trenches of life. Mark is subterranean at this point. Glowed in of the century. What about Billy?
Billy is a glow-up. He is entering his fashion icon era. He realized he doesn't want to manage other people's talent. He wants to shine on his own. The Jordan Roth outfit, iconic. He is embracing his truth.
I violently disagree with you. Billy is a glow down.
What? Why?
He lost his grip on reality. He alienated Jane. He let Val take all the heat for his producing decisions. And now he thinks wearing a velvet cape makes him a star.
It's giving delusion, not evolution.
You just hate fun fashion. Okay, last one. Pauly G.
Glow up, easily. He might be the only person who actually grew.
Wait, really?
Yes. He remembered his love for writing, stepped away from the toxic "how's that" cycle, and took a massive pay cut to do honest, creative work. He reclaimed his soul.
I actually agree with that.
Oh.
Okay, moving on to our main character energy audit.
This is a good one.
Who actually carried the emotional weight of the season, who thought they were the main character but absolutely were not.
I will start this one. Billy and Jane firmly thought they were the main characters.
They really did. Jane, running around with her Oscar camera, acting like she's saving humanity from the machines, and Billy with his newfound ego. But they were absolutely, definitively supporting players.
Valerie carried the emotional weight of this entire season, period. The tears in the storage unit a few episodes ago, the way she handled the pantry scene with Mark today. She is the sun they all orbit around. She is the undeniable main character.
But consider this alternative perspective.
Right.
Was Pauly G the phantom menace of the season?
Ooh.
His absence drove the entire plot. Val's intense fear of him leaking the story, her desperate multi-episode search to find him. He possessed immense main character energy without even being physically on screen for most of the season. He controlled the narrative from the shadows.
That is a very interesting take, but no, Val is the star, period.
Fine.
Which leads us to our predictions. What happens after the cameras? Let's predict what happens to these people 5 years down the line. I want you to be messy and delusional.
Okay, my prediction for Mark. Within 6 months, Mark goes to a highly expensive 3-week silent meditation retreat in Ojai. He realizes on day 2 that he absolutely hates being alone with his own thoughts, leaves early, and gets another terrible tattoo on his calf that just says, "Never again" in Comic Sans.
Oh my God, yes. Okay, my prediction for Valerie. Valerie gets approached by Andy Cohen and is offered a full-time diamond on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Sound.
She completely thrives in that environment, stirs up the best, most petty drama, and becomes a Bravo icon for the rest of her life.
I can actually visualize that perfectly. My prediction for Billy. He starts his own luxury lifestyle and fashion brand called Star Over the Eye.
Of course he does.
It immediately goes bankrupt within 6 months because he has no business sense, and he has to come crawling back to Los Angeles to manage Val's reality TV contracts for 10%.
So messy. I love it. Okay, final question for us. Would we survive this show?
Yes.
Wait, let me finish. If we were inserted into the chaotic world of the comeback, working on the set of How's That or starring alongside Mark on Finance Dudes, how would we actually fare? I need you to be honest.
I'm always honest. You go first.
I would thrive. I am overly confident about this. I would align myself with Jane immediately, get behind the documentary camera, offer brilliant, highly spicy confessional quotes to the producers, and become a breakout reality star. I would be Baby Girl 2.0.
You are deeply, profoundly delusional.
Am I?
Let me paint the realistic picture for you. You would cry the literal second an unemployed writer threw an iced latte anywhere near your shoes. You would be sobbing in the coffee bean bathroom, calling your mother.
I have great reflexes. I would dodge the latte.
You wouldn't. And
Yeah.
honestly, we would both get canceled within 48 hours.
Why?
We would complain about the craft services catering on a hot mic, someone would leak the audio to TikTok, and we would be globally trending for being entitled out-of-touch dentists who don't appreciate free food.
Okay, valid. I absolutely would complain about the catering. If the charcuterie board isn't aesthetic, I'm walking off set.
Exactly. We would not survive Hollywood for a single week.
Wow. Babes, this has been an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
A deeply funny, highly chaotic reflection on finale week. I am genuinely so sad that the comeback is over.
It's the end of an era.
Despite all the snark, I feel like a piece of my soul is missing now that we don't have these characters to dissect every Sunday.
And I am just profoundly glad I get my Sunday nights back so I can watch dry, historical documentaries about ancient Rome in absolute peace.
You are so boring.
But seriously, it was a phenomenal season of television that gave us an incredible amount of psychological material to work through.
We have to give massive, massive gratitude to the Snark Squad. Thank you for writing through the absolute mess of this television season with us.
Thank you, guys.
You guys are the best besties a girl could ask for, and reading your unhinged theories every week sustains me.
Please remember to subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and share this discussion with your...
It never stops. And next week, we are bringing you even more shows, more chaos, and definitely more spiraling about our own personal lives. You do not want to miss it.
Until then, take care of yourselves, and please, whatever you do, do not get a spontaneous back tattoo at a desert festival.
Stay iconic, stay chaotic, and we will see you on the Snark side.